Right, so we've had the Westminster attack the other week, and there's a phenomenon arises every time there's an attack now, which is the term false flag comes up. So since the 9/11 conspiracy thing, but have a look at this. Fake false flag, what a load of shite, he says. Let's get turn the brightness up. So what else have we got? Special report, attack on Parliament, London false flag hoax, MP, London UK terror attack hoax, Illuminati false flag confirmed. What else we got? They're looking for weird things like London false flag hoax, proof dummies were used and bus. So they're going on about the bus and they're saying there's certain things that turn up in false flag attacks. In other words, a false flag attack, if you don't know, is an attack created, a dummy attack created by the people who claim to be the victims. So in this case they're claiming that the UK government created this Westminster attack by Masood, this guy Masood, or Adrian as his real name is. I suppose that doesn't sound very terrorist. And there's all this stuff about, here we go, I have a quick chat with Jim Fetzer about the latest London hoax. There's one there on the left, see my finger is there? I don't know who Jim Fetzer is, I don't care. Proof dummies were used on the bus. Keith Palmer died before. Keith Palmer is a policeman that gave his life blocking the path of the attacker. They're on about how it's the Westminster 322 hoax attack. It's all about a drill. They're saying it's just a practice run. And it goes on. What else? Anything else unusually bad? Skull and Bones event 322. They're on about number 322. They keep going on about this as though it's got some special significance, which they say it has. It's some weird Harvard clique that they've found on the internet. Iron as well. Iron's always present. FE, iron. Ferris wheel lockdown pointed out in comments. Right, so it goes on. There's a shot here somewhere of, yeah, there's a bit where they've got the bus. Something about one shoe on and one shoe off. They're making kind of weird puns. Lost soul. He's lost a shoe, a soul. Pun with the word soul, meaning your inner soul. Dramatic one shoe over blood. This is a photograph that came out. Right? And they go on and on like this. Look, one shoe off. This means a lot to somebody. There's a poor guy, that's Kirk Cochran. But the way his leg is broken, and you know, rest in peace Kirk Cochran, the way his leg is broken, it does look like he was hit by the car, then bowled over the side of the bridge onto this pavement or sidewalk as the Americans would call it. I mean, you know, somebody else who needn't have died, you know. They've got a tick box thing going on. Look, this is a false flag hoax. It's got all these items that I can tick box. So they're saying there's a nasty bad SUV in it. Thin blue line hero, white cop versus black Muslim terrorist. Tick, check. Okay, so they've got this checklist going on of what makes it a false flag. Look, a bus. Apparently the presence of a bus makes it a false flag. Drill, all of it. It's a practice drill, in other words, it's just them making it up. Then they show you this, the Kirk Cochran Memorial Relief Fund, and they say that that's another checkbox. Then they say there's children dead or hurt, and that's another check. Okay, and so it goes on. And I just wanted to say that basically, it's certainly not beyond them to make a fake false flag. Guys like Masood, cowards like that run people over on a pavement when they've got a car that's a big metal cage with every safety feature conceivable for them, that isn't a brave attack, that is a cowardly attack. the fact that they can make sure later there are certain things that might lead people to believe it's a false flag attack or an attack by a state on itself in order for propaganda purposes. That's not that complicated to do if you want to go into it. There's another aspect to this, which is the over in Iraq and Syria, they're fighting for towns. It's mostly the Iraq army at the moment, backup from America and Britain and so on, coalition forces. And of course Russia's bombing the hell out of places. It's not as much as it was. And of course there's all these accusations that the coalition forces are inaccurately bombing places and they're killing loads of civilians. So there are 2 points about that. First of all, they kind of got to attack the places where there's shots being fired from and mortars being launched from and all that. So as those places, the terrorists, the Muslim extremists, are deliberately taking people and locking them in to those buildings they're going to then shoot from, it's pretty obvious that those civilians are then going to be beyond their will, against their will, in the line of fire. The next problem is, of course, that it's perfectly straightforward, as a British commander said this morning, for the extremists to rig the building with explosives. So basically, either at the last minute, when there's only a couple of them left out of half a dozen or whatever, or if a bomb penetrates sufficiently far into the building, the whole thing goes up, making sure that the people in there die, the civilians die. There's just nothing to stop them from doing that. And it seems perfectly obvious that so far the extremists have left no stone unturned. They're not concerned for civilian deaths. They don't care. I've been in close contact with somebody, even in this country, in the UK, where they were in conflict with me, and that guy held his baby deliberately. He took his baby from his wife to hold while he called me a shit and said, yeah, your gonads are shrinking now. Now that's as close to starting a fight as you can get without actually throwing a punch. And there were plenty of witnesses who were of the Muslim faith around at the time. Now, by no means am I saying that all Muslims are bad, but I'm saying once that guy and an older woman that were there had stirred people up, he was perfectly prepared to hold his kid there in the belief that he'd get a lot of backup from friendly witnesses who were standing around. If that's the sort of mentality we're dealing with, where someone will not give away their baby, but actually hold it when they think a fight's going to happen because they think it'll be better propaganda, then they're certainly capable of rigging explosives in a building in Syria so that the civilians in there get killed, and they know that their friends on the outside after will claim, look at all the damage, look at all the collateral damage, the civilian casualties that the coalition forces and the Russian forces are causing. My point is they left no stone unturned, so why would they not do that? It's perfectly possible to do it, they've got the munitions to do it, why wouldn't they do it? So it's fake false flag incidents. They're perfectly capable of setting up incidents so that afterwards they know that their friends on the outside, and whether they mean to be or not, they are their friends on the outside. These conspiracy theorists, I'm not sure it would do any harm to follow up on YouTube who these people are, and you'll probably find out they have something in common with the people who are perpetrating the attacks. So don't be disheartened, and don't let your belief in society be destroyed. There's plenty of times you criticise the UK and the American government and all of it, but don't let it be destroyed through people saying that there are false flag incidents and, you know, the attack by Massoud was made up by the police and stuff, because it wasn't. That's not to say that they won't degrade the footage afterwards so people can't see bodies getting kicked over, because you know that'll only get copied around the internet. I mean, there's a guy with a bloody shoe, that get copied around the internet. If there's a body being thrown through the air, that will get copied for sure. So they're perfectly capable of doing fake false flag incidents, and the people out there anyway will say it's false flag afterward. That's where we're at. And people are saying Massoud tried to attack our Westminster, our seat of our democracy and stuff. He didn't give a shit whether he got through or not. All that guy wanted was the propaganda afterward. He knew basically as long as he killed a few people and injured a whole lot more and was brutal enough, getting that copper at the last minute was that was the seal on it. He didn't really need to do any more. He knows that afterward, all the false flag stuff will get brought up because he's got either Confederates or sympathising outside up do that. He knows that everyone will say that it wasn't real. People will say he's not a Muslim, and you'll find that yet some people, I mean, he's been claimed as a soldier of so-called Daesh. Well, they're claiming he's a Muslim because they wouldn't claim that someone who wasn't Muslim was fighting their war. So people are disclaiming him as Muslim when it suits them, and they're claiming him as Muslim when it suits them. He was supposed to converted back in 2004, 2005 or something. Don't be fooled by it. It's all about propaganda. It's not about somebody seriously believing that they would get close enough to Parliament to do any real damage. It's just about the propaganda afterward. It is a propaganda war. IS, so-called Muslim extremists, terrorists, and it's the same with the IRA. Yes, the bombing's important, but the propaganda afterward. Nothing was a bigger bit of propaganda for the IRA than that they hit the Brighton Hotel. So that's how it works. You know, they get quite a bit of damage, but this guy's probably lucky he got as far as he did. And the next guy probably won't, because there'll be better arming of police at the gates. But it's all about the propaganda. It doesn't matter how far he got, as long as he killed a few people and injured a few more, and preferably hurt somebody who's in law enforcement on the way, which only shows that the law enforcement people were doing their job, putting themselves in harm's way. That's good enough. And he knows that the propaganda people afterwards will make all the capital out of it that need to be done. That's what it's about. It's literally killing people in exchange for headlines. That's how cynical it is. Thanks for watching, listening.